Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Australian report for Thursday, October 7. And with the ASX here, as you can see, we're still in this wave 4 correction here. The market is holding up quite well, but it's still under the support level or resistant level of 7.3. We can also put in terms of the trading levels, we can put in 7.2, which is really important number because not because I love 72, it's because it's the old high from the COVID days. So it's really just bobbing, when you think about it, it's just bobbing sort of on that old high. So it's making a little bit of a mess here, but we are seeing this pattern here too in the US doing the same thing as well. And if you've looked at the S&P video, you'll see that we're actually looking at it in terms of a triangle pattern, which we could also view it as a bit of an ABC pattern as well. Yeah, so this is where we're left with at the moment with this. So I think that we've still got a little push up. Let's go into the next level. But just before we go in there, into the hourly chart, this is the 4-hour chart, you can see that, well, you know, it's traveling sideways. It does appear to be corrective, so we should see further downside on this. So what I mean by that is that this, out of these lows through here, that's probably the low here. It's not really an impulse wave going up through here, but I'm thinking that we'll either just go to where it is here and drop, or we'll be going a little bit higher here and then dropping from that point. Now, let's say that I'm totally wrong and that this is finished at this point, because we always need to look at both sides of the coin, otherwise you get lost in one side. So if that is the low, then we would use obviously this 73 here, the top of minor group 1 is essential to have as the support. So we would need that first high above the level, but getting that doesn't mean that we're bullish at that point. We'd need to get we need to take that out. We can either take that out or we can take that out. So a lot of the times it will just come to here and then drop at that point. So this really divides it up. It's really the line in the sand. At that point, it's a 61.8% retracement level as well from this top to this low, so it's critical for that point as well, but also we need a setup there to go along as well on that. So, and just on the hourly chart here, and this is where we were chatting yesterday, so I was expecting this to move up through here and then drop, and it has dropped, but it hasn't really, well, I suppose so. I mean, look, we could go, we could put that here, all right, we'll look at both sides, okay, we'll put that there, we can put that there, and then we would look for the 50-60% retracement level here, which is where it is now, roughly, so we can put that there for that. And we could expect it to go down, so we could short it below here for that. But what happens if there's a little bit more to this as 1 and 2 and 3? So it could turn down from here, and we'll look at it getting a better position in that. But also too, we need to be a little bit mindful. If I can just draw this over here for a second and look at this as 1 and 2 in here. So 1 and 2 in here, and then this would be 3 here, and we'll get a little wave back for 4 and then go up for 5 here, taking us closer and then dropping back down at that point. So we could have that sitting there, that would be fine, and we could have that there, put this over here, so on, and look for that one more move to the downside, or we have to put this over here for this. It's just a little bit more complicated, and what that means is that, just copy that for a moment, put that there, so this would be the A wave here, then an A and a B and a C wave for the B wave here, and then up for the C wave here in 5 waves at that point. That's how that is. To get a better position on this here, what we can do is also just look for, let's just imagine for a moment that the market is going to move down. We'd need to see that retested there, and then we can lift that under there for that. So once that low's in place, then you can look to short from that point. Just sort of looking around a little bit at things, you know. What I'm looking at here, let's just, those two are pretty much sort of spot on. I mean, I think I'm right, you know. I mean, we've got a clear 5-wave structure here, so that's fine at that point for that. And then the A, the B, and the C here for that, that's okay. Or could I put that over there and look, there's an A and a B and a C and a D and an E, maybe. Yeah, it's a bit complicated. But still, so the A, B, C for the A wave, and then the A, B, C for the B wave here. I think that's it. I think we've got a little bit further to go up here. So a bit of a typical Thursday really. So let's just see how that goes. Opens higher and closes lower. Well, this move up here is definitely in 3 waves at this point. So let's just see if it gives us wave 4 and wave 5. And once it comes into these tops here, should just stop in here somewhere. Probably won't reach up there, but and then we would get this pullback here to the 50-60% mark. So if that went up there at that stage, then you could go long from that point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ABC here and push up from that point. That would be the other long trade there if you wanted to get in earlier than the 7-3 at that point. It's just the hourly chart, but you can see that the divergence coming in here because that little high here was up here, that's come all the way down, whatever, and then it's come back up here. And this one here hasn't reached the top here. So yeah, but still it might, when it comes down for a little wave 4 in here, like if this was going to give us 5 waves up there, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So that when that wave 4 comes back, because it's complicated, it'll give this time to pull on down again and then have that 5th wave up at that point. So that's not such a big deal at this one, I have to say. Yeah, but look, we've got overlapping wave structures, so it's corrective, and it must be a continuation pattern because we're coming down in the trend. It's not like we're coming from a low, so it's a continuation pattern, it's corrective, and in one way or another we should be rolling over here in this. The S&P 500 is doing the same thing. Let me just check where that's up to at the moment. This is the S&P here doing the same thing in A, B, C, D and E wave over here. Or we can also have it as an A wave to here, an A and a B and a C for the B wave here and going up for the C wave here. So we're actually looking for either 3 waves up or 5 waves up. If it's 5 waves up, it's going to be wave 1 here, 2 here, and then wave 1 and 2 here. And then this will be the 3rd wave, 4th wave, 5th wave to here. So there'll be 2 more pushes up here for the S&P before it tops out here. So it can move up and have 1 more push. So we could just look at this here as the C wave there, or the E wave there, the B wave here, or the B wave here for that. So once again, to turn bullish on the S&P, we need a classic trading levels pattern here on the 400 to turn bullish. Obviously, there's lots of news coming out of the US with the budget and so on, and the ceiling, and everybody's, you know, poking sticks at each other. It's a bit of a, if that's democracy, well then I'm just sort of wonder about that a bit. I mean, the idea of democracy is fantastic. I mean, I just don't think the system works. Be whoever you put in. I mean, how can one person how can one person just run the country, you know? I mean, it should be like a council, so to speak, you know, so it's more balanced view and the public are not confused all the time and so on. It's just I don't know, does my head in. So, just coming back to this for a moment, just be careful about going long, that's all I'm saying. I mean, I can see that it can go up further, but I can see that this here is sort of corrective, and we can easily come down. So we'd have to get support on the 7.3. I would need to see a tested support on the 300 before I called a low in here for this. Okay, so I know it's complicated and boring and all the rest of it, but that's just the nature of the beast in this wave 4 here. You know, it is choppy, it's really choppy, isn't it, you know? It kind of depends on the bank. It depends on the you know, what's going on in the rest of the world, plus our banking sector, the resource sector, because China's not still on holidays, then, you know, that's all just being very steady and stable at this point. With CBA here, we looked at a slightly different sort of pattern yesterday, and this is where we are at this point for this. So I've looked at this as wave 3 here with an A wave here, and basically an A and a B and a C wave for this top here. So if that top is taken out, then we can go long from that point. But otherwise, I was expecting this to pull back down. It did pull down yesterday, which is nice. So to pull this back down into the lower wave A at least, or at least get 5 waves down here. And that would also be in line with the ASX200 at that point as well. So really what we want to see, what will happen today perhaps is a push up, and hoping it will fail, and then move down and give us our 5 waves on the ASX200, and also 5 waves here as well for this. So let's just see how that plays out with all of that. But I don't see any problems going long at that point there. Yeah, so our plan was at 105. If we ever had support at 105, we would go long because it's above the 61.8%. Well, that high there now sort of cements that in. So we'll just leave that at that for the moment. Don't need to go to the tick chart. I will have a look at ANZ. ANZ sort of rolling over, so we're also looking at the same thing here. I'll probably change this wave 3 too. I'll need to check on that, but still, it doesn't really matter for the time being. We're looking at this. I mean, they could still be up for 1 here and back for 2 and push up through here, but I still wouldn't go long. I mean, I'd like to go long on top of the 28 as support, but I'd want to see a little bit more there. Because this can push up a bit higher here before dropping lower down here for that. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at A wave, B wave, and C wave here. But that could be a low in here. I mean, that looks like a nice B wave here. That looks like an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here for that. You know, that wave 3 could be sitting over here. I mean, when I look at the other one, the Westpac, which we don't really look at, which is this one here, and this is a daily chart here, and we're at the medium level, so I can put that medium level thingy bobby in there. So, yeah, looking at this, this seems to be the high here. I can kind of get 5 waves out of this, sort of forcing it a little bit. So that same pattern we've been looking at, but it finishes nicely here as whatever 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. A little bit dodgy in the overlap, but how else would you look at that then, you know? This move here, we could look at that as 1 or an A and pushing up through here. So we could look at that as 5 waves moving up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to that point with an A and a B and a C here. But obviously this is the resistance through here at the 26. So it's still at resistance, isn't it? So we would need to see that as the support. So we'd need to see find out that line here at the 26 mark somewhere, wherever it may be there, and we would need the market to sit on top. So we need it to move up and then come back and sit there on that. So we'd be looking for some sort of corrective pattern like that, and then we could go long above that top or this one over here, but we don't have that yet. We could certainly get it. I can see I'm still either way on the banks. So let's just see how it plays out. I mean, the US banks are sort of positive, but they're sort of also stalling like this here at the moment as well. So they're not running. So yeah, that's not much movement for our banks at this stage. But obviously the banks will be a good buy when the where is that ASX200 area through here again? Sorry, let's just say for a moment that I get lucky and we're right, and we come down here for this last structure here in all the global indices, basically. Well, then this would be the buying for the banks at that point. That's the obvious thing. So they want to go up. It's just when they're going to go up, So we're just in a rock and a hard place at the moment. But yeah, I just feel that there's one more leg down, but a tested support on 7.3 would change that. Okay, so let's go and have a look at the rest of the world. Well, China's still on holidays, having a week holiday. I really like that idea. Where's our friends? India. India's still there at the 18 level there. Nothing sort of happening there. It will probably push higher. The pattern that it's causing there on the daily chart, since it came very close to the 18,000, the pattern below it, it appears to be corrective now. Bullish corrective. Now, sure, it could move up from that point and go above the level, and that would be part of our process in terms of our trade setup, or it could stay under the level and just get a bigger corrective pattern. I don't know without going back and checking the trend. I'd have to start from the beginning and build up. That's a lot of work to do, so I'm a bit short on time. So I'm just going to wait for the setup. I'll know when I see it, and that's that. So I'm not going to monitor that in the interim there. So that's China and India. We should really bring in the Hang Seng, but that's still being hammered. And I don't want to make this video any bigger than I have to. Okay, so let's have a look at the commodities. So gold is the first one out of the rank. Okay, with gold, and thanks to Mansour, why won't that come across there and capture that screen there? That's a bit weird. So I'm just trying to show another chart. It won't sort of pop up. Okay, I've got it. So thank you, Mansour. And this is his gold count here too, which I think he solved the problem of 1 and 2 here and 3 here, and then an A, B, C, D and E wave here. So fantastic job, and thank you for that. That certainly helps me with my problems. It's good when people can all sort of pitch in a little bit, and look, hey, sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't, and I think that's a fantastic effort. So I've used that count here, so thank you for that. It does make wave, when we look at wave 1 here and 2 here, and then we look at this as wave 3 here, it does make this quite large for wave 4. Maybe I need to pull this apart in here as well, just to see if there's actually 5 waves in there or 3 waves in there, and we'll need to add to that. But still, it does count it as a nice A, B, C, D and E here as an A, B, C here. Anyway, let's see how that sort of progresses. But I think the interesting thing is over here now for this, because we can put this over here, and let's just look at this little impulse wave. I haven't pulled that apart, but I can see that we've got this here as 1, 2, well, probably the 3rd wave, 4th, 5th here, A, B, C here. So this is also in 3 waves here. So I think that we need to put that wave 1 here with an A and a B and a C here. This is also impulsive, and this is still building here. Still can't crack that 1765, can we, which is the lower end of group 2. And yeah, so we need to get in there. If this count is correct, then then we'll still need to push up for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up here. And then if we're looking up here, we'll still need to come back for this wave 2 over here for that. But it's interesting, you know, because what I sort of find with the levels, once we get support inside of group 2 here, normally we don't come back down here for this as well. We just keep climbing. So that's going to be interesting, because once you get into group 2, it doesn't let you go. It just, you can vibrate in here, but pushing up from that point. So that's going to be interesting to see. So we may not come back to this here. And yeah, but anyway, it's all looking pretty good, isn't it? It's staying above support, and we're getting impulse waves here. I mean, this is a corrective wave, so that means we should be making a new high above here for that. Okay, so from gold we can go to crude. So with crude here, I think that I need to push this third wave up to this point here for this. But, you know, if you know the trading levels, you know number 8 is a profit-taking number. You know that the bids are going to be hit. You know that, you know the story. I don't need to go over it a little bit. But the trend to the upside is not complete yet. So if you're in oil stocks, they'll just be, you know, pulling back a little bit as well. The gas is also pulling back as well. Let's just have a little look at gas. I thought I had that nailed yesterday, but it's escaped from me. So I've gone back to my original count, which is looking at 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2, and then all the way up for the third wave here, 5 waves up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to that little high here. It looks like that move up through there, I started to count it as impulsive, but the move down has made it corrective. It's hit 65, or $6.50 rather, but it is a medium level. It's like $6.50. I mean, it is $6.50. It could be 65 cents. It could be 65,000 where Bitcoin is, or 6,500, or oil at $65. It's a great number. So yeah, this move that's come down here and moved up there, this move up here appears to be corrective, and I wonder if we're going to get some sort of expanded flat here for wave 3, or running flat or something, as an A and a B and a C here. I think the main thing, if I can just use one example from Australia here, this is a daily chart for Woodside. The little move here, it does appear that we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and we're looking for wave 1 up here, as we've been chatting about. Don't need that. What is that? So I don't know if that's the top there just yet or what, but we're looking for that wave 2. Okay, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but we're looking for some type of corrective pattern at the medium level here, $25. This is going to be our trade setup on the long side. And that will be the same for Santos, and OSH will be slightly different. We started to look at some of the others. I just want to have a look at the sweet crude here, because I had a better count. That's where I got the 5. That's where I got the third wave from. If we look at this as 1 and 2 in here, then we could look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the third wave. So a fourth wave to pull back 38.2%, and then a push up to 80. Well, that's already at 80 there, so roughly speaking. We're also looking at other stocks as well. Yesterday from the New York desk here, this whole move here is corrective. So we're going to be seeing this push higher. S&P, they're on holidays, but okay, we've got our break on that. Oh, it's on the New York desk, sorry. It's China Petroleum, sorry. I thought the holidays and all that. But guys, as I mentioned before, I really like this setup, because yeah, I just think that's the low, and we've got a nice impulse wave there. We'll be a little bit careful, of course, you know, when this we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, then a nice ABC, and I like it. Looks like a dog's breath, but basically I really like the structure, because I can see in between at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the A wave, the B wave, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the C wave, pulling back to the 50-60% retracement level. Yes, there's a bit of overlap on this, but if you're old enough and mature enough, then you kind of understand what's going on with those sorts of things, and we can move forward. We've also got a nice little impulse wave coming through here. We're at a nice level here, the 55 second strongest number. We can put the stop just under that, under this one here for the time being. You'd probably get it closer, but yeah. And the idea is you can this is 50, so 51, 52 and 53. Once we've got support on top of 53, then we'll be heading to 55. But the point about getting support on 53, the top of minor group 1, is that we'll be leaving 50 at this point. It looks like we're leaving already, doesn't it? But the 53 to me confirms that, the number 3 confirms that we're leaving the 50 for good, and then we'll be pushing up at that point. So yeah, I think this is a fantastic trade. I've said that anyway, I've said my piece. The Saudi one here, I've liked this as well. I just like that. I like the pattern here, but you'd be chasing that now. As I mentioned last time we spoke, at 38 it's going to be hit because 8, number 8 again. Royal Dutch Shell doing the same thing, 1 and 2. They're all got the same little pattern to the upside there. This is BP here, but also once again 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3rd. So it will push up further. It will need to find support on, it's been already hit at number 8 here at 28, so it needs to push up. 30 is going to be a problem for it here as well. But we need to look at this as part of as an impulse wave as well. So as part of the other structures that we're seeing in this market. So anyway, sort of still pushing up higher for that. So the gas and oil still good, just pulling back a little bit at this stage for those. And what else have we got next? Copper we normally look at. Let me find, I won't worry about silver. Copper, just want to keep a bit of an eye on. So copper, I've been looking at it in I know from, I'll have to go back to the daily chart here, then that's okay as well. We know that there's a couple of things here, is that we know that we're in a wave 4 correction. We know that this is the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, so the market can pull back to that. And it did with the A wave here, so I thought we'd actually been done and dusted, but we didn't get 5 waves up here. We'll talk about that in a moment. So we're in a wave 4. We're pulled back to the 38.2% and the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree. The 38.2% is at the 9,000 in this case. So we know that the move down is bullish corrective. So we know we're in a correction. We know we're in wave 4. It just seems to be doing time, just waiting for something to fall into play. So I was looking at all of this as the A wave here, then an A, B, C, D, and E here for the B wave, and down for the C wave, which won't take us down very far at all. And yeah, each leg here, this is in 3 waves, that is in 3 waves, this is in 3 waves. So I'm a little bit unsure about what's going on in the center of all of that right now, but it is part of that triangle pattern, and that looks a bit impulsive to the downside, doesn't it? But I think that we're in, I'm not quite sure. I'd have to probably look at this as some sort of A and, doing the same things here again, going into an ABC kind of thing here. Not that one, thanks. I'll take that one. So we could be in something like this here. I'm just not quite sure. I haven't really sort of, I haven't sort of given it the proper time that it deserves. It looks like we've got a smaller triangle happening within all of this as well, but it's just going to get a bit messy. We're going to get the bounce here in ABC for the B wave and down for the C wave, and then 3 for the E or something like this, and then down at that point. Okay, I've done all my things, but something of that nature, So I'll move. So nothing happening here, basically. We know stockpiles are low, all those sorts of things. There's a high demand for it. We looked at the gas, with that. So we'll just have a look at the Aussie dollar and what's the name. So we're still unsure about the Aussie dollar in a way, because we're not sure what the US dollar is doing at this stage. So we can look at this as originally as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave, and that's the low. And then we're looking up as wave 1 here, or wave A and wave B, and we should be looking up further for that point. But I wonder if we need to look at this as 1 here and 2 over here. I won't go into all of that, but 3 and 4 here, but also 4 can be over here. So it's also a little bit confusing. So I've just really been focused on the US dollar for this. So where's my chart here? So let's go to the US dollar, which looks bullish. So I'm just going to go to the 4-hour chart here. So from this little wave 4 here in green, we're going up to here for wave 5. I could see that this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 1 and 2 here was good, and then 3 here and 4 here was good. And then it was a little bit tricky to work some of this out here. So maybe there is one more little high to come into play here for that, but it does make wave 5 really quite sort of long, and that sort of bothers me. I mean, I would normally count this as 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 here, you know. So I'll just check on that retracement level to there. That's more like 61.8% at that point. So I can't really go 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 at that point. You know, it has moved quite deeply. The other thing too that we noted is that the move down through here appeared to be in 5 waves coming down. So it was possible that we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 finished here, because that pulled down quite deeply here, and it also pulled down in 5 waves as well. So when we look at that on the 15-minute chart, I suppose you could get an ABC out of it coming down, but this was the move coming down, so that's quite impulsive there. This here is probably impulsive to the upside. There's no corrective move there. This is in 3 waves to that point, so making that an A and a B and a C kind of looks okay to me. And then this here is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in here somewhere to make 5. That's a nice 3rd wave and a 4th wave and a 5th wave here. There's a 1 and 2. It's all kind of nice and neat here. So there is that 5 waves there. So then we noted this was 5 waves. So we thought, well, that's the A wave. This has got to be the B wave. And this can be the C wave up here. But we're above the 61.8%. It's not the end of the world to be above that, but it does sort of have a bit of a sentiment kind of thing on it. So if this market, we could have this as the A, we could have this as 5 waves down, then the A, the B and the C here, and then we come down further from this. I'm not seeing 5 waves down here so far. Sure, we could look at that as 5 waves and a corrective move here, but we'd still have to have 1, 2, 3, oh, maybe it's there. No, it's just all the 3rd wave. 1, 2, 3 here. That was 4, 5. So we'd need to see another little move down on this, just sort of splitting hairs here again. But we'd need to see a move down here on, that's no good, is it, that thing? We need to see a move down here for this. And then we'd need to see an ABC coming back up. And then we'd need to see another move come down at that point. But that's where this is, from that low here, that's where it can push straight up from that point. From that low, it can go straight up from that point. That's what we need to concern ourselves with. So we'll just see how this sort of plays out here. And obviously if it takes that top out here, then we'd have to look at that as a corrective. But and then we'd have to look at it as an A wave to here, a B wave to here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. That's the only other way. That's the only way to look at it, I guess. But it doesn't seem that way at this point in time. So, yeah, there's lots of boxes that are unticked for all of this. But the takeaway, I guess, is that the trend, when we look at this, is upwards, isn't it? You know, I'm just going to remove that, but we're looking at a trend that's pushing to the upside here. Okay, so let's move on to stock. I haven't seen any of the stock. Let's look at BHP on the US. So we've got still looking for another move, one more little move to the downside. We really have to wait for China to come back as well, you know. Didn't quite get a low there for that, did we? Because I've got this here as 1 here and 2 here, and all of that's the 3rd wave here. I'm looking for the 4th wave here and one more low. I'm looking for a low below this one here. We haven't really got that there. So we could end up seeing seeing a little move up here for wave 4, and then wave 5 moving down here. That's kind of what I'm looking for. You'd probably buy very close to the 50. There'll be a bounce there anyway, so we'll be able to manage the risk at that point. Let's have a look at Australian BHP. That was up a little bit yesterday. Also the same thing here as well. We're just looking for one more low to come in here to get that low. Just not there yet. So if I can just... If we take it from this point, we got 1 and 2 and 3. I'm looking at this being wave 4 here, and then another move down into that low to complete the whole structure. I won't go to the intraday today to wiggle all that out. I really want China to come back online, and that's the same for Rio and FMG and the rest of them. So nothing really to see there at all. Just to recap a little bit with all of this, if that's okay, I think that first of all, with the banking sector, if this high goes out here, then we're bullish at that point. But we are looking for the US markets to have another low that will take the ASX down for another low. And if this count is correct, then everything will be according to plan here. We'll have 5 waves for the C wave here, and then we can buy. The thing is, the trouble is, you know, sometimes there's nothing to buy, and then suddenly there's everything to buy. So this pullback that we may see here, that would be worthwhile to have at least one bank. Also, too, on the energy side of things, we're also going to be looking at a pullback, so maybe choose an energy stock as well. And we could also go for a resource stock as well. I think that they're all going to go together if we get this. The banks could run away on us first to the upside, but that's okay. You can grab a bank, grab an energy sector, and grab a resource, because they're all the things that we're looking at in various degrees. Rightio, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.